Hey, welcome to another edition of the Get Made podcast. We got an exciting episode today with me and my main man, my brother, the youngest extraordinaire, brother Salim. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. What's going on with it, big brother?
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. How you been, man? Let's get jumping to it right quick. How you been, bro?
And I've been good, man. I've been Gucci. I've been holding it down. My wellness is still a priority. I've been, trying to keeping things in front of me best I can. Miss my boys. Same old, same old.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing, man, because today's topic, you and I gonna jump in. I want to really talk with you about it. We kind of talked a little bit about it before, but I want to kind of jump into it, man. Looking at this thing maybe from a couple of generational spots as well, and that's loneliness in men, right? And that's been a topic lately, but I don't think we've been stretching out even with it within the Muslim community, right? Especially within the Black Muslim community, right? Because we tend to not to talk about things.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I share something with you, and it's probably happened to me since I've been Muslim, and I know it really happened to me before I was Muslim. I used to be able to be in the crowd and feel lonely as hell.
Man, subhanallah, don't you say that? That's I grew up feeling lonely, and I got a twin brother, but I can recall feeling lonely a lot as a youth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not really, I'm looking at it because it's not just a phenomena that's really taking place as we begin to get older and age or whatever, and things start coming about. A lot of this stuff, man, happening for us even when we was young, when we were kids.
Yeah, deep rooted type stuff.
Word. I mean, really. You know what I mean? So tell me your thoughts about this loneliness from your perspective.
Man, so my perspective, like loneliness, like when I look at it, I used to have a position as a maintenance guy, and I was the night maintenance person, but I stayed on site. Mm-hmm. And I had the privilege of talking to a lot of older OGs and brothers who wasn't Muslim. It was in wheelchairs, and their health was declining. Mm-hmm. But I hear them suffering a lot. I walk through the hallways, I can hear moaning, and I'm like, and I had one talk with the dude, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm lonely," and he just was lonely and tired. So he kept saying, "I'm lonely and tired. I'm lonely and tired." I'm like, "Geez." But I would wonder, like, well, where your family at? Like, why? What have you done in your life to kind of? Do we get to a point as men where you get like old and grumpy and you just push folks away? Is it that you haven't cultivated meaningful relationships that's going to endure as you age, so you don't feel lonely? Are you repelling people? So to me, I start to get my mind that starts to get the rolling when it comes to loneliness, because I've went through a bout of loneliness. Just like recently, feeling lonely, missing my boys, and just then you tie it into how that leads to wellness. How that ties into your faith, right? Because Allah is never, people, Muslims will say, well, you should never be lonely. Allah's close to you like a jugular vein, right? So it's one of those things where it's deep, man. But I think that there is a phenomenon of lonely men, Black Muslim men in particular, and I think that we're in hiding. They don't come out and express that stuff, and it's all bottled in. Like you said, you don't really talk about it. You could be in the crowd. You could be at you could be a Jumu'ah prayer. After you taslim out, you still go back to your car and you drive off, and now you're feeling lonely and empty. And then may Allah forbid if you don't have a wife or somebody wonderful like what you have with your wife. This always there by with you, and and so it compounds the loneliness. So yeah, man, it's deep, man. But yeah, being lonely is just one of those things where I think, like you said, we don't talk about it much.
Yeah, and I just share something even here, man, and I don't even believe I've shared this with my wife, to be honest with you, since you made that point. I mean, being married, man, my wife is phenomenal. She does a lot of good things for me, man. But I can tell you, like, even being married, man, sometimes I be lonely as hell.
I've been there, being a marriage and completely lonely,
Yeah.
feeling
It
misunderstood.
ain't nothing it ain't nothing that she's done, you know.
No, it's something. Yeah, it's something within something that you haven't, you ain't dealt with maybe, or something that is kind of one of those traumas or pain bodies that haven't been tapped into or unpacked by you in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been there, and said 9 year marriage and felt completely alone most of those times in that marriage. Like this was like, man, I don't feel like you are relating to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I need, I took it as being like, how we get into like, signs, your zodiac sign and all that kind of crap, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm just, I need time to decompress. I can't be around folks too long. Like it's just like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, so I just took it as an internal thing with me, but yeah, loneliness, man. That loneliness it's deep, man. Yeah,
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to kind of bring this topic up today, uh, and this is not a topic about depression or being
right.
try to throw everybody into a spiral of depression or whatever, but we have to talk about these things because a high percentage of men, are recognizing or saying that they're lonely now.
Yeah.
Right? It's a high percentage. Right offhand, I can't give you the data right offhand. I just know that the data is right now. It's an extremely high number of
Hmm.
men who are classifying themselves as being lonely when they do a study, right? And but how they kind of cope with it, because it's one of those things where we suffer in silence,
Yeah.
right? And so we start picking up bad coping mechanisms.
That part.
And
Yeah.
so now it's one of those things where, of course, as Muslims, we don't really drink or do drugs and stuff in nature. There, well, we're not supposed to,
Yeah, we shouldn't be.
right?
Right.
But you got people who are picking up those habits.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then we're telling people, and this is probably something that we can kind of start even diving into with speaking to some of our spiritual leaders who might come on, if we we remember this conversation.
Hmm.
You keep telling us to pray,
Right. Hmm.
but then I don't even know how to connect with my prayer, which makes me even more lonelier.
Yeah, man. You going there, man. You going there, man. You going there.
I mean, because that's a real situation, man. I mean, I'm sitting there, and then right now I'm mechanical in my prayer. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I know the steps.
Right.
I know what to say, but I'm not making a connection, a heart and mind. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I have this particular thing going on, and I don't know what to do about it. And here's my thing: it might be a lot of different men out there who don't know what to do about it,
Right.
right? And I was reading, I was listening to a brother the other day. I forget his name. I think he coming out of the Yakin Institute though. Um, he's pretty popular now. I think his last name is Abdullah. Forget his first name though, right? But he was talking about this situation about loneliness, right? And he had put a post, he had put a finger on a post with it, in my opinion, right? And he tried to, talk about how to get beyond being lonely, right?
Mm.
And one of the things that he talked about was companionship.
Yes.
Not so much as the male female companionship, the camaraderie of another brother.
Facts. Yeah, we've been on that lately. Remember, we had a discussion at Juma about that, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, that day I seen you at Juma, to be honest with you, because me and the other brother, right, we're sitting right there all the time. The other blind brother, right, me and him, we always right there, right,
Hmm.
at the Juma. But that was probably the time that the most time I had that many brothers sitting around us.
Wow. SubhanAllah, really?
Yeah, that
Wow.
was that I identified it. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't say anything, but
Right.
that was the time, man. It was about 6 or 7 of us sitting around.
Yeah. We was powwowing right there.
Right there.
Laughing, just
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I don't even tell you no lie, man. That felt remarkably good.
Yeah. I know what, brother. I can tell it because you was like, man, because you was like, You gave me your seat. You like, man, come on, man, don't move. Come here, let me.
Exactly.
You gave me your chair.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I knew that meant like you needed to recharge. You was looking, you know, and we stayed there for a good, 20, 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was solid, right there inside.
Yeah.
It was solid, just sitting there,
Yeah.
you know, just conversing. You know, it wasn't nothing crazy. Just conversing. But it was really just a lot of love. The other brother who in a wheelchair, he right there with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like we were all right there, man, just sitting there conversing, man, and soaking up the love with each other. You know what I mean?
Right, man.
That was crazy, man, because I'm telling on myself now because my wife was sitting out in the car waiting on me.
Yeah, now she know what you was doing. What you was doing down there.
You know what I mean? Because she had made an Instagram thing. Where I didn't even know. And she said, "Is the car cool? Is the car cool?"
Right?
Yeah, it's all right. You know, I don't even know she's doing it to me, right? But so you know, now you know what was happening. Tell my wife. Now you know what was happening. Why it took me so long to come out, because that was a remarkable feeling.
It was.
You know what I mean? And so there is, and here's the thing that I guess we're not just giving a blow by blow. You know, do this and do this, do this. We're saying doing this. This is what the outcome can look like.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then you know what was profound is that I'm finding myself, because I get into these modes where I got a bunch of contacts. A lot of people, you know Brother Salim like you, and one thing that I think we established is just a check-in, like how I check in with you, for my, divorce and all that. But we need to check in with each other a little bit more. Like I text, like I'm getting better at, and with my family, hey, I love you, just calling, checking in, because I've been seeing like this, because you have this youth on your side. Don't think that Allah can't take you at any moment, right? And so, I had a real great Ramadan in the sense of, even though I went through a transition and stuff, but I was able to connect with my family and apologize for things, and I went and checked in, and so now I feel comfortable coming around now. I don't feel like a stranger, right? But it's those check-ins. I'm sending out texts, hey brother, I don't want nothing. I'm just seeing how you're doing. Like you never know what your brother could be doing at that point in time. He could be somewhere feeling real down about himself. You know what I'm saying? Or but it's that call, hey man, I ain't want nothing. I just wanted to holler at you real quick. Assalamu alaikum. You good? I'm good. And then so you open the door for, if they not good, like, okay, nah, I'm not doing good, bro. I'm sitting in the car, man. I'm saying, I'm in tears. I saw something, or I'm hurt right now. I'm down. I'm busted. I ain't good, And that's hard for men to do. Like we don't do enough of that. Like, man, I ain't good right now, man. I'm lonely. I'm depressed, because we put on these bravados. I'm good,
Yeah, because I just sit there and think about it. I mean, I know I've done it, man. I have picked up the phone and waited till because it's a 12-hour difference between where he's at and where I'm at, right? And I had to kind of call him at a particular time. I try to call him at a particular time, not to but I know I be kind of feeling like crazy, and I have to call him just so I can pull myself out of a rut.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, it's just a matter of him kind of, not really knowing what to say, but Allah giving him the things to say to me, and then we can have a conversation, and he can kind of, give me some guidance on something, but it really don't even be guidance I really be looking for. I just be looking to really just connect with him.
Yeah. Yeah, that recharge, or
right, you have to kind of like had a student teacher type of situation.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, I learned a lot from him.
Right.
But when I contact him, man, I'm not really contacting. Sometimes I'm not really doing that. I'm just kind of, because I just, that's my man. You know what I mean? Right. He's an old head. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I mean, like my man, like going in this deep in the 70s. You know what I mean? And it's like, he kind of living life, you know what I mean? And he's doing certain things with his life, even at this age, you know what I mean? But he has a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And just knowing how to be a friend.
Wow, when you said something profound, learning how to be a friend.
Yeah.
I often feel like sometimes us as Black Muslim brothers, we don't know how to be friends to each other. I often felt that. sometimes. Like, we not good friends. Like, we brothers in Islam, we deem them, but how do we take this beyond, this, you my brother, like you the salams or
Right. I
something.
mean, because he get lost in the whole thing of being in the ranks together.
Yeah.
But okay, that's cool too. But then how do I extend the ranks beyond just praying together?
Yeah. Right. Well, that comes, but going back to the early Sahaba and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and how they became family. And they knew of each other. They traveled with each other. They did things with each other, and that's why when I missed the conference, I was like, man, I missed the conference because I could, things wasn't aligning. But those are the times where those conferences, those networking events become those extensions of us, being part of families, right? Like, or introduction into my family. Who's Brother Salim? I want to meet him, check his hand. And then it extends, okay, well, in my peripheral, here's my wife. This is my wife, and this is my sons. And then you open it up, and then that comes to, well, come on over for Eid. And then you start building these relationships, and then it expands to where now we can really reach out, and it's a genuine connection. Yeah, it's genuine,
Now, and it's crazy. I've sitting and listened. I usually listen to you talk, right?
Yeah.
And I think about, man, how superficial it can be, and how we're accustomed to dealing with the superficial now.
Right.
That we don't ask for more from each other.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't look at, hey man, I'm just really looking at today, man. I tell you what, I was thinking about this topic earlier today, and there's another brother, man. Actually, his wife and my wife are really like best friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but he and I are like, maybe not best friend, but we are extremely cool.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And 'cause I don't know. I had some problems with the best friend mantra sometimes. I'm learning how to deal with it differently,
Mm-hmm.
and having a better understanding of that. But the idea that me and this dude are extremely cool. I just text him, and I haven't really talked to the guy in months.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I just text, hey Siri, text such and such and such and such. And what do you want to say to such and such and such and such? And you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I just threw it out there, man. Just, hey, man, I'm just checking in with you, Case and Lambs. I'm just checking in with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hit me when you get a chance. You know what I mean? I know busy men understand busy men, but sometimes I think we use that as an excuse, being busy, to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes that busyness it can become a shield for loneliness. I can't get it out sometimes. Yeah, it becomes a shield for that. I'm a hide, me being lonely, and not reaching out behind. I'm busy. I'm busy. I've done it a lot. And but now it's to the point where we make time.
What for you? What made you do that though? What made you do it?
Like, well, stop the I'm busy.
Yeah. What made you to go to fall into the whole line of I'm busy?
Well, because people get into their minds of having a legitimate excuse for really being busy. Like, when you got a lot going on, you can really make that excuse. Like, okay, I really do be like my days really be structured now with the boys, and then getting back into real estate now and stuff like that. So like I got things I could be doing with that hour or that 30 minutes. But then we prioritize our bond with Allah, and then you realize a lot of those times these things you're trying to accomplish and these goals, that you need a network, and they could also be fleeting as well. Like, you don't get too caught up in that, but having those human connections get you a lot further as well. Like, man, like just to have somebody to talk to and not hide behind I'm busy for me, it's like, okay, you make time for Allah, then you have to make time for the people that believe like you believe as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a mindset thing when it comes down to it. Now you got 10 minutes. Because you've been scrolling on TikTok for 15, 20 minutes.
Word, you know what I mean? Can't nobody sit there and tell me that they don't be on social media, right?
Yeah, you scrolling, like it. Now you pick up that phone and, okay, hey, I ain't want nothing. Boop. You know what I'm saying? Send it out a text blast. Like, and I'm back there. I have a twin brother. I have a twin. So it's like, man, we went months without talking. It's like, man, I be feeling bad. And so, I'll be like, man, my bad, bro. I've been, he's like, nah, you good. I know what you be busy. Nah, I'll be busy, but not enough to let you know that I love and care about you. My
Right.
mom too. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm not that busy where I can't extend that I love you when I do talk to you. Like I've been at my age now, I've been making a point when I talk to my mom and my homies, the people that I really care about, love. I've been telling them I love them lately. Like, hey, I love you. You know, like because and it be genuine because I'm realizing that we don't have much time left, and we got wars going on and things of that nature happening, and so but yeah, but those connections and making a time, that is what defeats that lonely feeling of loneliness. It combats that
Mhm.
because people reach out back to you like, okay, when you ain't talking to me, I ain't talking to you. Like it's like out of
Right.
sight.
You know, 'cause I'm hearing you say that. We're talking about reciprocity at this point.
Yes, reciprocity. Yeah.
And so, but then I think along with reciprocity, though, I think there's something that has to be established even before reciprocity. Because that's just going to be a byproduct of this, in my opinion. We have to learn how to want to reach out to people and how to need each other.
Yeah, I need to need you. I need. Yeah, yeah. That's. Well, let me ask you. Do you feel like that's hard for Black men sometimes to do that?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like that's hard for
I
me.
do. I do. I think it's. I think this one of the most. It's probably hard for men, period, but
Right.
it's also even harder for Black men.
Mhm.
Especially Black men who get to a certain age, right?
Mhm.
Um, you know, maybe. Well, what I mean by that, let me probably be clear about what I'm saying in that too, is that the more we take on, the more we're going to retreat, right? And the more we're going to act like we don't have time for somebody else. But the more that means we're going to spend time being by ourselves. And what I've learned, and this is something that I've learned over the years as I've grown older, and I look back at my life, from a teenager to, my mid, you know, stride until, now I'm an elder now, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that I've looked at is how I've been lonely and how I don't want to use the word justify, but how I then compensated by saying, I want seclusion,
Mhm.
right? I
Right.
turned loneliness into seclusion. I just want to be by myself. I need a moment by myself. I need this. I need this. I need that. Right. Really, the only thing I'm doing is feeding that loneliness that I've been encountering all my life.
Mm.
Right. But now I wanted to say like I'm taking the power in it type of how they had this I'm getting the power back from it, all that type of foolishness. You know what I mean? But it's what I've really done is told my damn self a lie.
Mm. Right.
You know
You
what?
condition the mind. You conditioned your mindset.
For a lie, for a lie,
Mm.
for a lie, and
Yeah.
and, and I'm saying it to me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Ain't nobody telling me this lie. I'm telling myself this lie.
Right.
And I'm calling loneliness seclusion. I want to be. I want some solitude. No, that's the word, solitude.
Solitude. Mm.
I need some solitude. I need some alone time. I need this and I need that. You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting there saying that that's probably not necessary sometimes to get by yourself, try to gather your thoughts and
Yes.
everything, right?
Right.
But you need to be able to bounce those thoughts off somebody
Right.
because they say that the client, a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And if you just listening to you, as you sit there and call yourself reflecting, if you just listening to you
Mm.
without being able to bounce that off somebody,
Right.
right, then you're gonna tell yourself a whole bunch of warped things. I know
Right.
I have. That's how I got to that solitude.
Right.
That's how I got to that understanding of solitude.
Well, I think also, sometimes as men, um, or how I get sometimes is that you don't want people, and this goes back to being vulnerable. You don't want people to see your vulnerabilities. Really, you trying to mask what's really going on with you, and you really don't want to see people see that hey, you might be struggling with some things, so you put up these walls and these barriers. Then now you're behind the wall and barrier by yourself, and now you're really lonely. You isolated, right? You're secluded, and
right. You secluded. You isolated yourself. Exactly.
Yeah, I've done that. I mastered that. Like you look up, my phone won't be ringing, like, and then you're like, what? And then now you into a, and then don't let it be you don't have a connection to Allah, or you might be off somewhere in your deen and your Islam, because we know your iman and it can increase and decrease, right?
Right. Yeah, right.
When you get into some situation now, you're behind that wall and you don't have your iman is to a point where it's weak, and now you get to a real bad situation at that point, a real bad, because now it's like you don't have the people who can actually pour into you and remind you of Allah. You don't put a barrier between yourself. And then and this is when sisters ask, well, how do you end up with non-Muslim women and how men they're behind those walls? They get removed from Islam. They get they don't go to the mosque. There's no connection. They out and about and they seeing
they sheep for the wolves.
There you go. You easy pickings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that makes you think. That made me think too when you're saying that, right? Is how you can fall into certain things, and you don't want to be vulnerable. Because, for instance, let me put it like this: somebody like yourself, somebody like me at this point, we doing certain things. We got presence online, different things that you there. People see us, but we don't really see them.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but that, right? So then you got to kind of put barriers around yourself, perimeters around yourself, in order to make sure that you always think somebody coming for some reason.
Right.
Nobody, somebody trying to hook into you if and ask you some questions about marriage, or ask some questions about this, or just it's never really situation. What's up, bro? You know what I mean? You feel that way when that probably really ain't the case.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? You go to feeling that way, and so it's like because so many people do ask you for ask you about things or want something from you, right? But I really understand now that that's just have to be a fight that a person has to fight themselves through, because of that vulnerability piece that you're talking about. Vulnerability don't necessarily mean I got to be open to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't have to, I can be transparent, right? And the vulnerability, we kind of talked about that last week, right? With Imam Shadid, right? Yeah. The transparency can then bring about the vulnerability, and being humble in who you are allow you to be vulnerable. But vulnerability doesn't mean that I got to give you all of me. Right? That doesn't mean I just got to cut myself open, just bleed all out.
Here you go. Here's my heart.
Take it. Run with it. You know what I mean? Right. No, you still have to have some sort of, guidance on that.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the things that I'm understanding now when we start talking about this thing here is we have an absolute theory going on. Either I'm going to be completely vulnerable, or I'm going to be completely shut off.
No balance, huh?
There's no balance.
Yeah, I get you on that.
There's no balance.
Yeah.
Then what happens in that, that thing slip in, and since we're going to either, after we felt like we done got burnt, we're opening ourselves up.
Yeah.
Then what we're going to do, we're not going to open ourselves up.
Yeah.
Then that means nobody can come in. That means I ain't coming out either.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in that spot. I'm in that spot, and you got people telling you, with being divorced, open yourself up, and then for me, everything's still so fresh, and it's like, well, you start telling them, going back to spilling it out, letting people know, oh, that was too much, brother. Like
that's too much.
Yeah. Gone, like you still going through that too. Like, what I'm saying? I get it. I say alhamdulillah about it. I'm like, alhamdulillah, mashallah. Like, but yeah, it's finding that balance. But if I don't tell you nothing, it'll be, well, brother, you should have told me was that,
That was up. Well, that's what's
Yeah,
up,
that's
right?
like, so what do you do? Like, so it's like, all right,
Well, you have to
you
kind of
know,
ask for the gift of discernment a little bit.
yeah, you gotta, yeah, true, true.
You know what I mean? Because in that, if we talk about balance, balance comes with discernment. You know
That's
what I mean? And so then we have to, gotta have to. I hate this word here, being in the profession I am, but sometimes it's just, we pathologize a lot of things, man. So
right.
we over-diagnose everything,
Mm,
right? And everything then gets a label,
yeah,
right? So if I say the word heal, people we need to heal, that just takes on a whole nother concept that
right.
probably shouldn't be it.
So let me ask you this then. So do you think there's a tie-in between healed and being lonely and loneliness? Like, is there some kind of correlation with healed and lonely? Because I'm trying to, like, so if you're saying
Yeah,
that I'm
I
not
mean,
healed,
because somewhere along the line you learned it, and that's what we talked about a little earlier. You learned you got conditioned,
mm-hmm,
right? So you've learned that behavior,
right,
right? And that behavior has now harmed you. And
mm,
anytime you're really dealing with sense of what looks like a harm, means you have to recover from it or heal from it.
true,
Even if it's just a scratch, it still
right,
has to heal.
got
You
it,
see what I'm saying? It
yeah,
still has to get back to where where it's supposed to be.
right.
And so it has to go through the process of doing that.
But in where it's supposed to be at, what if you've been so far removed from what it's supposed to be? Like for me, if you've been in a 9-year situation, like you and where I feel is if you lost yourself in a situation, right? How do you what's the barometer? What's the measuring stick of like when you gonna say you back to where it used to be at when you've been so far removed from or have no idea anymore?
Yeah, but I think there's too much emphasis put on that piece right there.
Got you, got you.
Right. It's kind of getting back to where, and when I say get back to it,
Right,
once a scar heal, you see the heel.
right. Yeah,
You see it.
you still see. I got scars right now. Like,
I
okay,
mean, I got scars, but see, that's a different thing. Scars and being healed is two different things.
here you go.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what we kind of have to look at. Now, the person who's lonely actually just working on that scar.
Right.
What they probably haven't really kind of healed from it and still have it. So it's not even a scar at this point. It's a wound.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? A scar is left once the situation is there, but then this is the remnants of it.
got you. Right.
You see what I'm saying? If we really look at it literally, right? And
Mhm.
so now, if that is something that we're trying to deal with, if I'm dealing with how to, when we talk about healing, how to get to a point, okay, let's take you, because you brought it out that we just using. I'm not going deep into it, but I'm just going to use the piece that you gave me a
Yeah.
second ago, right? 9 years of giving yourself over to something. All right. Now that doesn't mean that you jump right back out after 9 years, not after one day is over with, running on something else,
Yeah.
right? You still get to decompress from that situation. You still get to, work that situation out of your head, right? But and however long that takes for certain people, it's just how long it takes for certain people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people it may only take a week or two. Some people, I ain't gonna say that, but some people it definitely gonna take a little longer than that.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so, okay, if we're looking at that, how do we then get to the point? Okay, you're gonna experience some loneliness in that because you missed the person that you were with. Because that's really what you're talking about. You miss that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? You miss being around that person. You miss being having whatever it was that you may have had with that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so part of something that I dealt with before talking to people is like, it doesn't mean that person was wrong or you was wrong. Just mean that, something went wrong in our relationship.
There you go.
You
Right.
know what I mean? And, it's, you had to go your way and I'm going my way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That don't mean that I don't miss you.
Right. Right.
Right. And now here's where the loneliness piece come in at.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't say, because I miss you, I'm not going to deal with nobody else.
Right. Now that's the barrier. That's the wall. That's the lonely part of it. You don't put the
Right.
wall.
That's when you set up the wall.
Yeah.
You start constructing the wall,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then once you start constructing the wall, or and you can be in a relationship, a new relationship, but then don't give yourself over to the relationship.
Right.
It really becomes transactional.
Mm-hmm.
Transactional situation sets up loneliness too.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at some point you want the camaraderie, you want the companionship.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need that companionship. So if you're looking at you don't have it at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you don't have outlets for friends where you can kind of until you get that piece together, have this piece together, where you are sitting down, you riding out with people, you might have like for I might have maybe a handful, maybe two hands at the most at this point of life. Real close people that I'm really just I pick up the phone and I talk about some things I got going on mentally.
Right.
Or, just when I say mentally, internally.
Gotcha.
Right. And so that we having these type of discussions and I can kind of because I trust that they will come from a place that's going to be good for me,
Mm-hmm.
telling me some good things, you know what I mean, that I would need to be able to do and not just have me, wallow in it,
Right.
tell
Right.
me why I'm on point and why I'm off.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Right. And so I developed those relationships now.
Yes.
Some of them are deeper than others,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I have like a core group of brothers that I can kind of do that with.
Right.
Now it doesn't mean that loneliness still don't pop in from time to time.
Right.
That just means I have to do something because for me, and I give you another situation here for me, is because of the blindness,
Mm.
right? I've already battled with this stuff through the course of life. Now I'm battling it with the blindness too,
Wow.
which the blindness actually isolates me in some degree.
But yours is something that's more like like you can't remove it as easy. That's something you can't really like the loneliness because of the blindness. You can't just turn that off. That's
Right. That's never going away.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so now I got to deal with it. Sometimes, you got to get up, because at that point, the loneliness will then come from the depression.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because and the depression is nothing but another form of grief, right? So now a person is being lonely. If we connect these things, a person is actually lonely because they're actually grieving.
You know what? I never tied loneliness into grieving. I never thought it was like associated. That's profound. You say that. I never tied that into each other or a correlation with each other.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, because here's what I'm saying: I'm lonely because I've lost something.
Yeah.
I'm not able
Right.
to move.
Yeah.
Grief is nothing but loss.
There you go.
That's
Wow.
all grief is loss.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And we respond to it in various different ways, right? But at the end of the day, that's where it's coming from. So if I'm lonely, I'm grieving something. I may be grieving, some of us as we get older, we grieve our youth.
Right.
I mean, man, I remember when I used to, I light them up. I'm 20 something points a game. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm 89, 10 rebounds. You know what I mean? I'm out here playing. Oh, I can't do that at a certain age. I ain't doing that no more. You know what I
Right.
mean? Sometimes it hurt to get out of damn bed. You know what I mean? And so, okay, there's a loss in that. The health issues may go down.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a grief in that. Okay, maybe you got some money lost,
Yeah. Right.
right? As men, these are some of the things we take on. Our kids ain't really kind of kicking it with us like we want them to.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We done been through several different women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We done had various different relationships that we really didn't put real stock in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now we at an age where we really want somebody and we can't even find them, but because we got a hell of a stupid ass track record. Excuse my language, but
So you burnt out. So you
right?
burnt out.
You know what I mean? you know,
Right. Yeah.
and so the things that I mean, women go through this too, but I'm not talking about women,
Right.
right? I'm talking about us right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and what we're going through, they can talk about that on their own show. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, as men, what we kind of go through, and what we're not connecting to, can potentially be. And I'm not saying it's the only thing, but can potentially be the loneliness, the grief that we're experiencing. And again, I take you for them because you used it on the show, the 9 years that you gave over to something. You actually grieved the loss of that, even though you was able to just, you know what, I'm, I got to move on. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But some of the things that you were actually doing was actually showing your grief. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You was online. You talk about this. You talk about that. You did this. You did that. Was actually your grief coming out.
Yeah, and you know what? It was big because it actually helped me. To be vulnerable on a public platform like the Get Made podcast, and it just kind of the feedback I got. I didn't get no negative stuff about it.
Right. Right.
Nobody came like, man, you a punk, not you.
No, ain't nobody gonna say that. Well,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where it just, like I said, this opening up about the grief, and then that lead to the page of it can look at how it looks as far as being lonely, right?
Right.
It was profound. It was great.
Because there it is, right? I think you just hit it right there. Is because the feedback that you got,
right?
You see what I'm saying? The feedback was just a conduit of companionship and camaraderie.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so the connection was being made. Somebody said, "Oh man, mashallah, thanks for sharing your story." Blah 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 blah. You strong dude, man. Allah bless you. All those things that came your way.
Yeah.
By the permission of Allah, those things that came your way in that. Right. Actually, was one of the things that helped you not fall deeper
into loneliness.
Yes,
because I was thinking about that.
Because it didn't mean you didn't experience it. Because it didn't mean you didn't experience loneliness.
I didn't stay in it that long and get deeper off into things I probably shouldn't have gotten it off into. I got off into positive ways to deal with it versus the negative ways. That's like I said with you, like I said that last session that we had, it was like we paid for two, only got one. So I was like, you know what? Then I'm gonna use the last session. I want to talk to Hassan. You gave me an hour, but probably over an hour. Just kind of, you had to, pour into me, build me back up. Because you heard some things, right? You heard some things like, wow, and so, but yeah, because of that, the vulnerability and the outlet and all that, I wasn't able, I didn't allow me to engage and figure out thoughtful ways to articulate what was happening with me, but also get into the positive things, the counselors, getting out, being part of dawah groups, realize, wait a minute, here's a dean right here, this is what you embrace this, go revert back to that, what I'm saying, get into your Quran more. And it was during Ramadan, so I used the momentum for that to get me, to where I'm at now. It's like, man, Allah is Akbar. So it was just, so it was a positive situation when
right. And it doesn't mean that if I go home, I drive home, and I walk in my house,
right,
and I'm the only one there, and I'm only there for a while. It doesn't mean that an aspect of me doesn't miss something.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And that's when people fall into the loneliness, because loneliness actually leads to the despair, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes they just give up, and how they give up is by justifying behaviors.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And so if we then start looking at how do I then, first we got to be aware.
Right.
Awareness is everything. And I don't care what you do, you have to be aware. Right. Hey, you know what? I'm lonely. Say it. I'm lonely. Okay. I
Right.
acknowledge that I'm lonely.
Yes.
Well, what you gonna do about that?
Right.
You know what I mean? What do I need to do to get out of this lonely state? And it ain't always about being in the center of the crowd of people.
No.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's about the connections that you're going to make. And I think that's some of the things that you were able to do, and as illustrated here, is that, once you start recognizing, hey, let me do something different with my life in this aspect. You start, getting into Dawah groups. You start doing a little bit more counseling for yourself. You start doing certain things for yourself that then allows you to maneuver around the loneliness. Loneliness is going to be right there because depression can be there. All these things that can throw you off is actually sitting right there waiting to throw you off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes you just have to maneuver around it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes, I mean, everybody can't be Bo Jackson. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know Bo Jackson. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
be,
no, Bo.
yeah,
You
everybody should know Bo, right?
yeah, but
you know, but one of the things about Bo Jackson, if those who check out this and go check him out because as an athlete, superior athlete,
oh yeah,
superior athlete, he can either run through you or run past you.
yes.
You know, a 418 40 speed.
He was like 245, two something, 200 something pounds.
At a 225,
Yeah,
right? And just as powerful as he was fast.
yeah. Played
Right.
baseball.
Played baseball, right? A
Yeah,
major athlete, two-sport athlete. You know what I mean? But the point that we make it is not to emphasize who he is,
right.
but we have to understand the mentality. Either I'm gonna try to run through it, or I'm gonna run around and outrun it. You know what I mean? But regardless of whatever, you're gonna have to face it,
There you go.
right? To either run around it or to run through it.
Right.
And you can determine if it's gonna be strong enough for you to run through or not. It's like, man, I can power through this one. You know what I mean? And bulldoze right over it and keep it going.
Right.
Oh man, this coming with a gang on me. Maybe I might need to outrun them. You know,
Right.
you know,
Whoop, the juke, go around.
I might have to hit a move and then I'm
Yeah.
gone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just my entirely too many. I'm showing up for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
But then the reality of it is, I think part of what you were able to do that I'm hearing, because we had to see how to do this stuff in real time versus everybody giving you all these theories.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you were able to do is make connections.
Yeah. Yep.
What you were able to do was make connections. What I was able to do is start making connections.
Yeah.
And then I started expanding. We started expanding our touch, our connections.
Yes.
I mean, and that's even, and I don't know if you know about this. Something that I've been dealing with for a few years now, especially as I've been on, is what we call grounded masculinity.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. And one of the key functions in grounded masculinity is connection.
Yes.
Right. And so just to stay grounded as a man, I need connections with other people. I need care. I need consistency. I need congruency. I need competencies. I just got to know how to do these things. Right.
Yeah.
And those are the 5 keys that we look at. If everybody need a formula, you know what I mean? Well, there's a formula right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty good one too.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's logical. We sit right there with it.
Yeah.
Inshallah, man.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. Because like I said, and being grounded, I guess it's going back to how you do it, things you can do to ground yourself. Like for me, it was, my TikTok on that trail, walking, finding things I could do. I'm just going to walk, be consistent with that, talk, But I was fighting it. I was fighting the loneliness. I was fighting. I like speaking of athletes. Kobe Bryant is one of my favorite athletes, right?
Right.
And he has a thing called the Mamba mentality.
The Mamba mentality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, use it. I'm gonna turn all these negatives, this grief, this pain, all this. I'm gonna turn it into something powerful, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this heartbreak. I'm gonna use letdown, the disappointment, the loneliness. I'm gonna try to rephrase it or repurpose it somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was the Get Made podcast, talking, getting big homies, reaching out. Like I said, I should have been reaching out to you. I've always had your number,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you get into a lonely place, and then that wall gets built up so high you can't see past the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You got your brother, your Donis over here. You got your brother Hassan over here. You got you got the Imam Bilal and the Shadid's over here. You kind of get. Because the wall is too high, you can't see over it.
Can't see over the wall, exactly.
The wall, and then now you just then so they got a choice. Am I gonna go around this wall, or I'm gonna go through the wall? And so or climb over it.
Or climb over it, right? Or climb over
it. I did a little bit of all three of them. Went around. I seen some loose bricks here. I'm gonna power through that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put this camera in my face and keep smiling and keep walking and keep grinding. I'm gonna get closer to Allah. I'm gonna get more into my practice and my faith and lean back into that, which I already knew that. And those are things that help you through the loneliness and the despair and the disappointment within myself. So and then we actually get a chance to see how work looks. And then when I found out is the work becomes attractive to people, like, oh, you doing work on yourself? Let me let
let me get in there. Let me get in there with you.
Wait a minute, time out. No, wait a minute. I'm not even like, hold on, sir, sis, whoever. Like, I'm here. Like, I'm trying to just get, I need more time. I need this, and it's like, so, but yeah, man, it's beautiful when you have men that you can actually, have who look like you, who in the same situation as you, who've been through things you've been through, that you can be, honest and candid with, and they can help you, and you don't feel bad, man, because we just set those at the masjid, but me, you, Udonis, and brothers, and they sit there and just be chopping it up about, and what's wild is everything that we talk about has come to fruition for some of the brothers, whether it's been success in real estate, whether it's been, hey, I'm launching this, I'm finna close on that. Allah blessed it, you know what I'm saying? And so now we got to encourage each other more. Like, yeah, I see you out there grinding, I see you out there, man, keep it up. You need like just rooting each other on, man, and it feels good to finally cultivate that and have people like around you, like around me, like you, that's really championing, wellness and what the MADE acronym stand for, man, and it's huge, man. So I'm forever grateful, man. That's why I'm consistent with the podcast. I'm not gonna miss an episode. I'm gonna come on here and just.
Well, I definitely appreciate you, man. One of the things I wanted to make sure that you continue to have a outlet, man, for yourself, with that, man, and we just if it's us, then we reach out to other brothers, we bringing other brothers on, telling everybody to kind of share. If you know somebody who may be lonely, they look lonely, don't be afraid to just approach them in the best way.
Oh yeah,
just encourage them.
Yeah,
reach out. You know what I mean? To reach out to, even if they got to kind of be anonymous, reach out to myself, reach out to Brother Salim.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to say that too. I am not a celebrity. I ain't nobody. Like, listen, my inbox will be open. Like, you don't like brothers. If you're going through things and you know what I'm saying, you want to hook up. If you in Georgia, if you just want somebody to talk to, holler at, man, like just kick it, come by, come through, chop it up. Like, we your brothers. We want to know. We want to know who don't sit there and suffer. If you're going through anything, you've been feeling kind of down to the point where you done got off track Islamically. You done got off into some stuff you ain't shouldn't be involved in. We are brothers in Islam. We here for you, whether it be an inbox. I see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, let's not get into this shallowness, this non-brotherhood. Because the sisters, they really good at it. They excellent at it. The sister be saying, hey, I'm going through some things on her timeline or whatever. Immediately she getting hit up in the inbox. Boop, boop.
Inbox online in the comments section. Shoot. Got like 1,000 comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Brothers be like, man, I'm in my car sleep. Don't nobody give me the salams or nothing.
You know what I mean? Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
You be going through it. You be all right.
They got GoFundMes and everything. They put together 3-4 different GoFundMes.
Listen, brothers, it's like,
brother can't even get the lambs,
Man up. What's wrong with you? Real
Yeah.
law, it's like, dang, y'all called to the brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh man, that is crazy.
man,
So
it's so I'm saying we trying to get have a game plan where brothers we need to get a camaraderie and a brotherhood like what they got with the sisters. Like, holla at your boy when we get the next conference going on. It's going to be in Georgia, inshallah. I think. Hopefully, I don't know. We talk about some things. Hopefully, we have a men's, brunch or luncheon.
oh, well, you know what? That's crazy because I'm sitting there thinking, right? Some years ago we had this brother dinner and dialogue, right? I'm actually now trying to put together the concept to bring that back. To
Yeah,
have, and I know various different organizations have. I know I think they do one at the Atlanta Masjid like every quarter or something like that. You know what I mean? So there are certain ones that's out there already, right? By all means, you know what I mean? Because you come to mine, don't mean you can't go to theirs. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And just we need more of these type of events. Now we always gathering around food.
It
That
works.
might be something a little different too.
It
But
works. I like food.
yeah, and what man don't like food? You know what I mean? So, so it's pretty interesting when we kind of like we even went out to the one brother's house, man. He had a whole spread out there for us, man.
No, you told me
Oh my
about that. I
God,
was like,
it was bananas, bro. It was bananas, man. And he cooking like crazy, and the brother blind. And
yes. I was like, I want to taste that man's food. Like, what?
man, I don't know,
Going
man.
down like that?
Yeah, man, I'm getting off topic because I don't want to
The
be
food.
going off, right? But I'm saying, but the conversation that we had while we was out there was a lively conversation.
Oh, hold on. My computer getting me. Hold on. Just keep it up. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Hold on.
you ain't go out there. Yeah, so I know you're trying to get the computer going. I'm gonna keep talking while I don't want to get dead time to give it dead air time.
I did that, man. I don't know where my charger is. Hold on.
But yeah. So well, how about this, man? Before you get off, well, we gonna end anyway. How about doing this if you can, before you fall off? Tell everybody how they can see you, and if you happen to pop out, then I can just go ahead and end the show, right?
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to find me, I'm on TikTok as Bro Salim on TikTok. I do the Bro Salim TV. Also, just letting you know, I am back active doing real estate. So if anybody has any real estate needs, and I'm in Georgia, I'm licensed. I just got on with it's called Green Path Real Estate. Beautiful sister has her own brokerage. So I did sign up with them. I'll be launching my business pretty soon, but I'm getting everything rolled out. But if you want to call me about anything real estate related, you can reach me at 949-966-4268. Again, that's 949-966-9268. Again, 949-966-4268. Or you're going to send me a text at that number if you brother just want to reach out, holler at Brother Salim, whatever it is my business line. You can just call me. We can chop it up. But that is for real estate. But if you want to, reach out, if you just want to say, hey, I like what y'all doing with the Get Made, or hey, I got a event coming up. Also, there is an event coming up. I posted it on my social media, on my Facebook. There's a marriage conference going on. Let me find the yeah, it's a marriage. It's a mix and mingle, October 3rd through the 5th, 2025, with Rufus and Jenny Triplet. You know Rufus and yeah, them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have international speakers that have spoken in several countries and around the world for interfaith. They got a conference coming up. Go to Bro Salim on my Facebook at Salim Abdul Mutakalim, and you can see the flyer posted on my social media. So for those who are looking to get married or want to go to a good conference, they have an event coming up. So, but yeah, mashallah.
Okay. All right. So with that, definitely, if your guys and your brothers and sisters who's on here who know brothers who might be in a situation like this, or even if you're in a situation like that, you can want to reach out. Definitely hit me on my inbox. You can reach me at here, or connect with me on TikTok and Instagram at the Hassan Clay Experience. By all means, please reach out. and let us know your story as well. You know what I mean? And if you need it, to send it to me, and you want to send it to me, then you want to make it anonymous, then I can post it anonymously, take your name off of it. That would be good too. Have no problem with it. You want to share your story with some other people who can benefit from it. We're here to benefit each other.
That's
If we don't do it, who's gonna do it,
that's facts. That's facts.
right?
Unbelievable.
And so, with that, we're gonna see you guys next week. I think I got a pretty interesting guest coming in the next couple of weeks. So, get ready for some real lively conversation. And of course, with myself and Brother Salim with Brother Salim TV, y'all
Yeah,
continue to support us. We're gonna support you, right? And because at the end of the day, we all we got.
we all we got.
All right. So with that, we'll talk to you guys. We'll see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Always in TikTok and no TikTok, not Instagram, Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, Facebook.
Right at the Hassan Clay Experience. Always set your notifications so you can get it. But please subscribe, and we're gonna see you guys next week. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Mashallah.